Today's video, we're going to be seeing if more horsepower equals a faster lap time. I have my Stark Varg here. We're out here at Motocross MX. The goal is to be taking the same exact line back-to-back laps. One lap on 80 horsepower, which is the max these bikes are set at. The other lap will be on 55 horsepower, which is about the equivalent of a stock 450. I have the mode set to mode 1 and 2 on this bike, so all I have to do in between laps is hit this button right here, switch it over between modes. The goal is to be able to run an identical lap, or what I would feel is a pretty identical lap, to see if more horsepower actually equals a faster lap, or if having a more controllable package actually pays off better in the end. Okay, so we got mode 1 right here, 55 horsepower. Mode 2, 80 horsepower. So mode 1, mode 2. Let's go find out which one I go faster on. Okay, mode 1, I'm gonna dial in the track a little bit. Obviously the track's pretty rough, not super rough, but they haven't touched it since their last open practice, so got some bumps and ruts and all that. I'm gonna get used to it a little bit, dial in the track. 55 horsepower is actually what I normally ride at, so it's not like I have to get used to the horsepower. But I don't usually run regenerative braking. I have it at 25 right now, just because when I go to 80, I'm gonna have that at 25 as well, because I'm gonna need the extra stopping power on 80. So to make it both even, I have the regenerative braking at the same setting. But we'll just go ahead and see which one we can turn a faster lap on. And remember, I gotta take the same line, so I'm gonna take the easiest lines possible, even if it's technically slower than like the main line, because I wanna be as even as possible. All right, let's start it. Okay, I give that lap about a 7 out of 10. I made a few bobbles, but I could easily like replicate that intensity because it wasn't super intense. Okay, as you guys can see, we're at 86% battery. That was mode 1. Shifted up to mode 2. Give it another lap here. Now, like I said, this is 80 horsepower. This is a lot of power. So I'm gonna do my best here. I'm not gonna, like, I'm kind of nervous. I'm gonna be slower, to be honest. If I mess up, we'll give it a few like tries in case I really mess up, but should be able to replicate that last lap pretty, like, you know, consistently. So let's do it. Oh my gosh.
was insanely quick. Now, I don't think the lap was that much quicker. Interesting, because I genuinely don't know if that lap was faster, but it felt, one, a lot easier. Two, I could actually like kind of think ahead because I wasn't so worried about like being on the gas. Okay, as you guys can tell, we're at 79% on 80 horsepower. So that one lap took up 10% of the battery. So you could do close to like 9 laps, 8-9 laps at 80 horsepower without running out of battery, which is pretty astonishing, to be honest. Okay, we're gonna do one more lap each horsepower, and I'm gonna go like as fast as I possibly can and see if I can better the 80 horsepower lap. Because the first time, like both of those laps were very like 70, like 7 out of 10 effort, like 70% laps. And even the very first one I made some mistakes. So this next one, I'm gonna really like just rip it as hard as I can, at least as hard as this stock suspension will allow me to, and see if I can beat it. I honestly don't think I can, but we're gonna give it a shot here. I have a feeling 80 horsepower was faster, but I don't know. They also feel pretty close, so I'm gonna give it one more shot here. That was probably the hardest I've ever tried in a lap in like 3 or 4 years. And I still made some mistakes. It could have been faster. I barked a couple of those corners. I messed up in the sand section. That one might have cost me. I felt like that was a decent, I'd give that like an 8.7 out of 10 for me, especially in the state I am in right now. Okay, to give this one a fair review, I'm gonna do one more lap on 80 horsepower. As you guys can tell by this LED light right here, I'm pushing down on this button. That means I'm in mode 1. I'm gonna push up, mode 2. Let's put another fast lap in. Give this one 100% effort. messed up the sand on both of those laps, so I'll call that fair. I really don't know though, like, I don't know, I feel like I might have been faster on 55, but we'll go back and look at the lap times and see.
So my estimate, I'm gonna say the third lap I did at 55 horsepower, probably my fastest overall, but that's the second lap on 80 felt decent, but I really messed up the sand. But I'm gonna go with lap 3 for the second lap at 55 horsepower. But we're gonna go review the footage and I'll come back to you guys here in a second with results here. Results are in, and drum roll, I was right. Laps 3 out of 4, so 55 horsepower was a couple tenths faster than the max at 80 horsepower, which I'm not super surprised, but I feel like if I got more time on the 80 horsepower, I could maybe be faster. But it felt like it was so fast that I was like almost uncontrollable. Like I was chopping the throttle, and I cased this tabletop over here. It was harder to time jumps, and it was really hard to like have a consistent like roll on the throttle in some of the corners. There's the results. 55 horsepower is the winner here. You don't need a super fast bike to be faster, although in some aspects it does help. But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. I know I say it in every single video, but it truly does help, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.